Amanda. How are you?
Great. How are you, Charlene?
I am doing well. I'm so glad we have the opportunity to talk again regarding first-time buyers this time. I know everyone has questions. I still have questions, and I've been a realtor for what, almost 14 years now, and I'm working with Real Estate HOMEWARD. Um, Love it there. I love my job. And I want to introduce everyone to Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Charlene. Thanks for having me. So my name is Amanda Pivar. I'm a mortgage agent with Vine Group, and I have been a mortgage agent for over 8 years now.
That's excellent. Thanks again for joining me, Amanda. I want to talk about first-time buyers. I still have questions even after all these years.
Yeah,
Things are constantly changing in our
always.
industry, so I don't keep up with the minutia of it all the way you do because of the fact that you're a mortgage broker, you're a
Right.
mortgage agent. So,
Absolutely.
um, I am going to ask the first question that most first-time buyers ask. What kind of fees should they expect?
What kind of fees? Yeah. So
Mhm.
for her first-time home buyer who is looking at going through the A route, the fees that they should expect is their legal. This I always do an approximate on based off of your purchase price. When I do legal though, I don't just do here's how much your lawyer's approximately going to cost. I also add in your land not sorry, not your land transfer, your title insurance. So title insurance is mandatory in Ontario, protects the title of your home, does quite a few other things as well. Like if you had a house and your neighbor said that your fence was a foot on their lawn, title insurance actually covers those type of disputes and actually pays to cover them. You also have registration charges. I've even seen photocopy charges. So whenever I give an approximate for a lawyer, it's all of that. You also have your land transfer tax. So depending on where you purchase, you'll either have one, or if it's in Toronto proper, you'll have two land transfer taxes. You'll have the municipal and the city. First-time homebuyers do get a break. Outside of Toronto, it's about 4,500. In Toronto, it's about 8,500. So a break on the double. And then you would also have, if you are putting less than 20% down payment, your CMHC insurance, you pay the PST up front.
Okay,
You
that's
can
a lot.
customize this for each client depending on their purchase price.
Right, and that's a lot of fees, and it can be overwhelming. I know that. And just to explain a little bit further, when you say a break, you mean a rebate. They have to
Yes.
actually pay it first and then they get it back.
They actually don't. So nowadays,
Okay.
yeah, it's actually now that the lawyer's able to do it right on their systems when they're doing the paperwork. So they no longer have to pay it up front. It will be an automatic rebate.
Wow, see, that is something I was not aware of, and that's newish because this is what I tell my first time buyers that you have to pay it up front and then you get a rebate. But
Yeah.
you're telling me no, that's not the case anymore.
Yes, you gotta love the digital age. So now with the digital age, lawyers have more systems that they're able to do a lot of their registrations online automatically, which will recalculate the fees and take away that or the break for first-time home buyers.
That's amazing. It works better, I'm sure, for people that are not expecting to have to pay that and get it back right away. Okay. So I guess my other question would be, what kind of a down payment would they need? Like, can you buy a home, um, if you were a first time buyer with 5% down, if you were any kind of buyer with 5%?
Yeah, anything under 500,000, you are able to purchase with 5% down payment. The down payment rule is 5% on the first 500. Anything over 500 to 999,000, you must have 10% down payment. So a first-time home buyer, yes, can buy with 5% down. If they're under 500, from there it is a sliding scale, and then anything over a million is automatically 20%.
Oh, okay. Um, that is a huge amount of money for some people. And
Yes.
where do you find typically your first time buyer pool comes from? Because like what range of prices do you find mostly that your first time buyers come from?
Yeah, so I mean, that's definitely a good question. It's a little hard to answer just because a lot of my first time buyers are not always in Toronto.
Mhm.
But I would say the sweet spot is probably around that $700,000 mark for most first time home buyers.
Yeah, I found that between 650 and 850 for my first time buyers, unless of course it's one person, like a single person that wants to purchase like a condo,
Yeah,
um,
I agree.
that sort of thing. And we're we're working on, well, are we at 500,000 in Toronto proper, or are we over 500,000? And what kind of square footage are you going to get? And what do you
Right.
expect to pay for your maintenance fee and so on and so forth?
Yeah.
So
And how do you want
that,
your lifestyle? How do you want your
yes,
lifestyle to change once you have this property?
right. You don't want to be house poor.
No, definitely not.
So the other thing that comes into play when you are purchasing as a first-time home buyer, let's say that you're purchasing a condo, you have a $500,000 you're pre-approved for, you've got your 5% down.
Yeah.
Now, when you take those sort of things into consideration, I know that there's something with the maintenance fee. Can you explain that, how you take the maintenance fee?
Absolutely. So for the maintenance fee, we use 50% of it, put it into the qualification ratios when trying to qualify somebody. Also for a condo, sometimes your heat and hydro is included. Those are an expense we can remove from qualification. But when it comes to that condo fee, we do use 50% of it in your qualification. So that could change someone's affordability depending on how low or how high they are. I do find with older buildings, they are quite more expensive. Being an older building, more maintenance, they sometimes include a lot more. But those are things we take in consideration. And a big reason that I always ask my clients to send me their MLS listing prior to making an offer so that I can ensure all numbers are accurate given the actual cost.
Okay, so I know that a lot of the newer condos are not including heat and hydro in their maintenance fees.
Yeah.
So what you have, I guess what we're looking at is an amount that, you know, for the most part is how much the entire thing is. So
Yeah.
we've got a maintenance fee that doesn't include a heat and hydro. You're going to take 50% of that. Now, for me, the maintenance fees, I would tell my clients, would cover water. They would cover insurance,
Yeah.
damages, that sort of thing. So we can move forward from there just so that they understand what they're paying.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been seeing a lot of maintenance fees for the newer buildings include internet. So that's always a nice saving and actually a lot bigger savings than say heat would actually cost you per month if you're buying a smaller condo.
That is very true, Amanda. I
Yeah.
noticed that as well. I know I pay for my internet like $100 a month, and my heat, I don't pay that much,
Now,
right?
man, $100, that's a great deal. I pay way more for my neighborhood.
Oh gosh, I don't know about that. But yeah, so what are we looking at in terms of any kind of, do we know of any kind of programs that will help with a first time buyer?
So yes and no. So there is a government program for anyone who has 5% down payment that helps with another 5%. It does give the government 5% ownership. In my personal experience, I've actually never had any success with this program. It's a very difficult program. It also caps the amount that you're able to get a mortgage for based off your income. 9 times out of 10, somebody actually qualifies for a higher amount with their 5% down payment. In regards to any other ways of borrowing down payment, if somebody has a large student line of credit or a line of credit, you are able to borrow from this for your down payment, but we must put the payment into the affordability ratios to make sure you can afford not only your property, but repaying the loan that you had borrowed from.
Right. So it could negatively impact your how much you're able to afford in the end.
That's correct. Yes.
Ugh, wow. So many things to know about. Anything else that you can think of that we should mention on this video?
I mean, yes, for a lot of people, borrowing from, say, a student line of credit, things like that seems like a lot for their down payment. A lot of my professional clients who have these line of credit for work, the payments are pretty low on them to begin with. Usually any student line of credit, especially if you're a doctor, lawyer, or have a PhD, the payments are a lot lower because the interest rates are lower. It is a really good option to get into the housing market. And then down the road, we can always refinance your home to pay off that student line of credit. A lot of my clients don't bother because it's actually a tax write-off for them.
Yeah.
But it is an option you would have down the road.
Well, that's good to know,
Mhm.
because the equity will build up rather
Yep,
quickly,
it's
right?
very true. And if you actually look at how much interest you spend on that for, let's just say, a 2-year period before we can refi, this year is not a good year as an example, but in previous years, the equity of that home has gone up way more than how much someone might have paid in interest.
Right. Wow, that's great information to have. We're just touching this subject of first-time buyers. Anybody that needs any kind of help, I'm gonna post a link in our YouTube below our YouTube video, and then you can either contact myself. I work with first-time buyers as well, or Amanda, I mean, for mortgage help.
Absolutely. And I guess I'm just gonna think about one more thing I can think of.
Mhm.
The biggest mistake I see for my first time home buyers when they get into trouble is not sending your MLS listing to your mortgage professional prior to making an offer. That is something I stress to my clients. They get emails when they're in the middle of the shopping stage every week asking if they have any that they want to send me. We really review those not only to make sure you can afford it, but to also make sure there's no issues with the actual property. Make sure the building's not a red flag. There are certain buildings downtown Toronto that lenders won't lend on because of the issues of the building. So I
Mhm.
highly, highly encourage anyone buying to make sure they're sending that MLS listing to their mortgage professional prior to making an offer.
Yeah, Amanda does it to me all the time.
All the time.
Please send please send the
Yep.
MLS listing, Charlene. Please send the MLS listing.
Always.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and I'm good with that. I'm fine with it because,
Yeah.
I want to see this go through for my clients. I want to see that we are able to get what they want in the end, right?
That's true. Like
So,
the only time I've ever seen anything come awry after someone's purchase is because I didn't see the MLS listing. I didn't realize it was in a blacklisted building and they only have 5% down, or the property is in a very bad state that's not actually livable. So very important.
excellent. Thanks for that reminder, Amanda.
No problem.
All right, so we are going to wrap up right now, but look for us for other videos. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Amanda.
Thanks, Charlene. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.